Welcome back to Stress Less, Live More podcast. And today we are diving into a fascinating aspect of the human experience, the neuroscience of trance and hypnosis. This episode will be particularly useful for coaches seeking to understand the inner workings of the mind and for individuals curious about how trance states and hypnosis can be leveraged in daily life. Dr. Terry McIvor, neuroscientist and synaptic trainer, will shed light on trance versus hypnosis. Hi, Terry. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing, Zita? Great to be here again.
Yes, we are back
Been a
again.
while. Yes.
Absolutely. So, trance states and hypnosis sound similar, but what exactly distinguishes them neurologically and in practice?
Well, great question, Zita. That's trance and hypnosis have a great overlap and for a lot of characteristics, same characteristics, but they are different as well. And people use them interchangeably. But broadly speaking, if you say trance implies a temporary altered state where focus turns inward and awareness becomes more flexible to suggestion, hypnosis itself utilizes trance plus specific suggestions, giving targeted therapeutic change.
Oh, wow, it's so interesting. So, hypnosis employs trance, but trance states occur without formal hypnosis too?
Well, yes, trance states can also occur without formal induction hypnosis because we're in trance a lot of the time when you daydream. When you're looking out the window daydreaming, you're in trance. When you're watching TV, you're in trance. When if you're religious and you go to church and you're going through all of the rituals of the mass or whatever, you're in trance. If you're looking at dance, you're in trance. That's a rhyme, dance and trance. But let's move on. But yeah, trance can be induced because it's natural. It can be induced without formal hypnotic inductions. Yeah.
Okay, so I imagine in both cases, similar neural patterns are getting activated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Your prefrontal cortex, when you're talking about going into transformally using hypnosis, we talk about our prefrontal cortex, which is really looking at the executive network within our brains and that becoming less active. It retains some activity. It's bypassing to go into trance. What we need to do is bypass the critical factor, or sorry, critical faculty, not the critical factor, because critical factor is not the correct term. Critical faculty. And so I know a lot of people use critical factor out there, but it's not the correct term. It's critical faculty. So we have to bypass this critical faculty. And so therefore we can then embed suggestions within the subconscious mind. However, the person has to be willing to do this, has to be fearless, because fear is the biggest barrier to hypnosis. People who have misconceptions about hypnosis and talk about the misconceptions about it being mind control, and people might ask me for my personal passwords, my card details, and so on and so forth, is nonsense. Obviously, is nonsense, and so we have to allay these misconceptions first before somebody can go into trance, and that's why we have pre-talks and all of that type of stuff before the actual hypnosis or hypnotherapy that we'll carry out, because we want to dispel and allay these fears that people have, and they get them primarily from Universal Studios, Bela Lugosi, Dracula, all of that type of stuff, and newer films like Hypnotic that came out in 2021. A new version of Hypnotic came out in 2022. So these types of films basically give people all these misconceptions about hypnosis, which are nonsense. When we're hypnosis, an ethical hypnosis, a hypnotist and hypnotherapist will not try to implant any ideas or suggestions that are negative within your client, within a client.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. We actually discussed some of the myths around hypnosis in our earlier episode. So I'm going to link that episode and or the show notes below. So anybody's interested, you can learn more about the myth that we discussed. So basically, a hypnotist utilizes those open inner spaces primed by trance to sprinkle in therapeutic seeds. And what about the client's role is relaxation crucial?
Well, relaxation, the therapeutic aspect is more warranted than hypnosis per se, because when we talk about instant inductions and rapid inductions, we don't have time for the relaxation to be put in to the client, because so therefore you can't have trance without deep relaxation. However, in a hypnotherapist therapeutic point of view, the relaxation would be very important as part of the session. And also, Zita, we have brainwave shifts, which are characteristic of trance as well, which have been measured in the laboratory. Our brainwaves go from, you talk about beta, which is normal day usage, and our normal day working environment, functioning. And then that goes to alpha, which is lower, and then that goes to theta. So when we go when we go into trance, we go from a beta to an alpha to a theta. Delta is sleep. So we don't actually go to sleep mode. We go close to it, but we don't go to sleep mode. We're still highly alert. We're still incredibly focused, but our brains slow to light trance, which is around alpha, and then into theta. And that's where we have when we our hypnotic trance.
Okay. So I suppose those planted therapeutic seeds can then resculpt even quiet, rigid neural pathways due to brain plasticity. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, the brain continually changes due to positive suggestions. We know that now from the neuroscience point of view. And so when we talk about neural pathways, we have learnt neural pathways which served us at one time, but now are not very useful. So, for instance, if we had a problem with our appearance, or we thought that that their nose was too big, or we're too fat, or whatever it might be, we would use different strategies in order to mitigate meeting people, so we wouldn't go out, or we become more introverted. But as you go along in life, and being introverted doesn't really serve you well. So therefore, that pattern in which the subconscious is trying to help you is only bypassing the problem. It's not dealing with the problem. So at some time in your life, you have to deal with that problem, and that's where hypnotherapy, hypnosis comes in. It really looks at developing new positive neural networks, which become stronger over time, and then these other networks then start to wither and begin to be less prominent. And obviously, the ones that are exercised the most, as like in any, we talk about new neural networks being used, and those that wire together, as they say, fire together. And so we develop these new neural networks, would become more prominent than the new behavior. Therefore, the other behavior then is, less prominent.
Oh, wow, Terry, this has been so illuminating. Literally seeing trance and hypnosis mechanics through your neuroscience lens. So as we wrap up, what counsel would you offer to our listeners navigating this particular area?
Well, what we have to really look at is what do you want to change, if anything, or what new behavior you want to incorporate. And so probably a good thing would be to look at our SMART process, which is self-hypnosis process, and that guides you through all of the different stages of the self-hypnosis and will aid you to help that change within yourself, that it will take you in to your inner self. It will let you look at being self-aware, let you look at yourself holistically, and therefore being able to see your strengths and weaknesses, and then looking at developing, turning those weaknesses into strengths. So that I think the smart hypnosis process will be put in the link below. And so what you want to do is, first of all, focus on what you want changed or what skill you want developed. Look at how you will develop, implement that within your daily life, and then use the smart self-hypnosis process to visualize that change within you and future pace yourself in order to see yourself 6 months, a year from now with that change, with that skill, with that new body, with that ability to speak to people or whatever it might be. And that over a period of time, when you continue to practice this, the new neural networks will be developed, and therefore you will be more confident and be more resilient when you're asked to speak publicly, or when you want to have some weight loss, you'll be more motivated because you'll see yourself in that size 8 dress, 10 dress, or whatever it might be, or those 32 trousers for the men listening. So yeah, as I say, we have to repeat these either affirmations or visualizations. And so when the brain actually visualizes something, it really can't distinguish much between actually carrying it out and visualizing it only. There has been experiments done where the same parts of the brain light up under functional MRI scans, where someone is actually doing the task and somebody else is actually visualizing the task. And this has been proven in sports performance as well, whereby people who at the top of their game always visualize how they're going to either tackle or shoot that basket or whatever sport they might be in, or hit the tennis ball in the right way, and and all that type of stuff. So it's really very powerful visualization and shouldn't be underestimated.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. I practice that myself as well. And this is some really good practical guidance, Terry. So just like you mentioned, we've developed a downloadable resource on the SMART technique that also comes with guided meditation. So we are going to link that in the show notes, but also if you go to www.igh3p.com, you can find this resource, but we will link it. So listeners, whether you are a coach helping your clients or you're someone looking to enhance your own well-being, understanding the neuroscience of trance and hypnosis can be so powerful. So basically, it's about finding the key to unlock a more receptive state of mind where positive change can happen. Thank you so much for such an insightful conversation.
Thank you, Zita.
To our listeners, we hope you're walking away with a new understanding of the power of the human brain and how trance states and hypnosis can enrich your professional practice or personal growth journey. Until next time, keep exploring the vast landscape of your mind, and remember, the journey inward is the most extraordinary of all. This has been Stress Less, Live More. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.